So recently I did a photo shoot at a car show, and it was the first time I've ever done photography at a car show. And there are a lot of limitations and obstacles that you have to put up with when you're shooting car shows in the middle of the summer heat in Texas. So it was about 95 degrees, 100% humidity, and not a cloud in the sky. So I didn't shoot a lot of video, or I didn't shoot any video, because basically I was a sweaty mess, but we still got it done. And the whole thing about shooting a car show, I go back to when I was a kid and when I looked in hot rod magazines. That's the pictures that I'm going for. Most of them are antiques or classics, and I just wanted to represent them as they were. And the big thing about shooting at a car show, it's a very big pain in the butt because there's people everywhere. And when you get the pictures home, you have a decision. You can leave people in the pictures, or you can Lightroom them suckers out, Photoshop them suckers out, which is what I did. I'm very happy with how Lightroom and Photoshop did taking people out of those photos. It did a real good job. And here in a second, I'm gonna get on the computer and show you the difference between the photos before I took all the people out and after I took the people out. Now, I'm gonna say right off the bat that I'm not liking the whole AI experience where it's just completely taking over and the whole project is AI. I don't think that's any kind of art form. I don't think that's any kind of, there's nothing to it. I'm sure AI is hard to do and there's an art to it and stuff, but when it pretends that it's the real thing is where I have a problem, because it's very hard to get the real thing, and that's where we're at now. So I like to use Lightroom and Photoshop just to make these small corrections and backgrounds and stuff, and we've been doing that for years. We've been removing backgrounds. We've been putting in skyscapes instead of boring nothing. Sometimes now I don't even really want to do landscape shots, because to me, landscape shots, when you do all the artificial stuff, it just kind of looks like AI. So what's the difference of just doing a landscape shot in AI and going out and taking it and then adding all those dramatic effects to it? I'm kind of wanting to go the purist philosophy of what the pictures represent and trying to get it all in camera, because it's just looking real artificial, is it not? I mean, you tell me. The bulk of the picture is what you took, and let's face it, those are just distractions. And to take that out, I don't think that causes any problem. I think that just makes the picture better. But I guess there's a question of how far you can go with AI without it being AI. Like if I'm shooting a photograph of a car and the car is the main part of the photograph, and I take all the people out and this and that, I still have the car. The car is originally what it was. I think 3/4 of your photo ought to be still what the original photo was. I just think it's good for removing distractions and stuff like that. I don't know. You might disagree. You go from the range of purists to totally anything goes. But yeah, I'm gonna jump on the computer now. I'm gonna show you some of the before and afters of the car show that I did in Lightroom and Photoshop. Okay, so this wasn't supposed to be a tutorial, but I really wanted you to understand what I was talking about. So I'm just gonna give you an example. I've opened a photo that I didn't intend to edit in Lightroom, because I'm just going to show you. I've edited all the ones that I really like, but we're going to go through this one. I've kind of done the color on it and stuff, but all I need to do now is go to Photoshop, Photo, Edit in Adobe Shop Beta. Okay, so the problem here is we've got what I assume is an old guy. I'm an old guy, so I can say that. And I want to remove him, and things like this can be tricky because there's this big old tree here and stuff. So I already know it's gonna give me some trouble. So I'm just gonna duplicate the layer, and I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna zoom in right here and try to be somewhat exact, because it can really do some weird stuff to the car. And I'm just gonna try and stay close to the edge so that it doesn't deform the car, because the one thing that I wanna do is preserve the car. I didn't do a good job on that one. Let's see how that turns out. So just generate a fill, generate. And usually when you put in nothing at all, it tries to match up the rest of the picture. There's a chance it might not match the rest of the picture because this one is a tricky one, and I don't think it did. Well, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Zoom out a little bit. Let's see what our variations are. 2, 3, and so we got a choice of some growth or this lighter thing. And of course I could run it again, but usually things don't really get all that better. I'm gonna stick with this one just for the sake of this tutorial. And then I've got a foot, and I can just take and get rid of this foot. There is a remove tool, and sometimes it works real well, and sometimes it leaves like this weird blotchy thing. So I've kind of gone back to doing the lasso. And you know, there's a lot of flaws in this car. There's things that would bother me. It's such a nice car. He needs to get a little bit more exact on some stuff. But as you can see, I was pretty much able to save the fender. There could be a little bit of problem there, but for the most part it's okay. So now we've got somewhat of a decent picture, and I would just go in real quick and do some editing, and I would just put a couple things where I would want them. Not really getting a difference on that one, so then mark and edit, and let's see if I can get anything on that. Lightens it up a little bit, gives it a little bit more like that, and then I usually go with the master on the curves and just see where I want it. Curves are everything, so that's kind of a nice little thing. So we have a problem, so I'm gonna Control Alt Shift E, give me a new layer from everything we see. And what I want is, as you can see, I don't have all the car. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna put this where I want it. The hoods are always a problem, so I don't know how well it's gonna work with that hood. And I'll just do that, and then I'll go to Generative Expand and give it a shot. I know we've already got a picture. The problem is we don't have a full picture. And like I said, this isn't one of my favorite photos. I've already done my favorite photos, so this is just as an example. And look at that. That's not bad. As you can see, there's a little bit of that fender problem that I would have rather have done a better job on, but the hood would be too short. I think that one's the best one. That's and pretty much all you can hope for in this, and that's not bad. I mean, it's not horrible. I mean, like I said, it's not my favorite picture. And I'll go ahead and save that, close out Photoshop, come back into Lightroom. And basically you can see how we took all the stuff out of the photo. That's the original right there. And then this is after Photoshop took everything out. Lots of distractions in this one, and less distractions in this one. Now, some people might like the distractions and the natural stuff of all that, and I would have to go in and take this off right here. So let's do that real quick. Photo, edit in Adobe Photoshop. So I made a mistake. I've got something that sticks out a little bit too far. So I'm just gonna round this off and see if I can remove it. 1, 2, 3, 2. 2 looks pretty natural to me. Yes, I know. So I'm gonna go with 2. Okay, there, that's much better. I can deal with that. So here's where we started, and here's where we ended. Ooh, I like that much better. I think that's a little bit more artistic. Normally I don't want to do artistic. It's not really that good of a picture, but you know, it's just an example, okay?
export. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna open that photo to see if it's at all good. I mean, it's okay. It's a artsy fartsy type. There's a lot to be said about this car, and it's, you know, it's a antique, you know, but overall I like the picture. Not bad. I've done worse. Okay, that was the original photo. That was the end photo, and as you can see, there was a tire up here, and removed that easily. Everything's preserved. The car is exactly where I wanted it, and I really like that photo. And then in this one, there's some dude just randomly standing in the way, as there always is, and so I removed that, and you can see it did an excellent job of preserving the car. There's a little bit of haze right here where there's normally, but sometimes we have to take what we can get. And then this one, there's all kinds of stuff in the way, and you can't always, I mean, sometimes it's not a good idea to remove stuff. I mean, so what you can see is I removed this, make this clear. I left this and this here because it wasn't that bad of a deal. I like to take shots of the interior of the old cars, and as you can see, there was a piece of paper hanging here, and I was able to remove that, add some effects. I really get off on these nostalgic shots like this. I thought this was a really good picture, but you are in my way, and it's hard to do something with a picture like this, and I was able to add a little teal and a little orange, and I got all those people out of the way. That's the main thing. Not the best, but good. And then I really like this picture. I don't think I removed anything from it, but I just wanted to show it anyway, because all I did was add a LUT and take all the color out except for a little bit of white and red. I'm sorry, I've been saying LUT. Preset. I added a preset. I'm so used to doing video. And as you can see, it really made a cool shot. And what I liked about this picture is I could have focused on this. I did one where I focused on that. It wasn't that great, and I like all these little shiny things. So I thought it was more fascinating to do this shot. And then this one, I took the picture crooked. I got stuff all over the place, so it was really hard to make into anything. And I made it a decent picture. And then this one, I've got a lot of garbage right here, and so I was able to go in and take this garbage out and all this garbage out, and as you can see, now I have a decent photo. Now on this one, I removed a lot of stuff. I thought this car was really badass, but I got all kinds of distractions in here. But I did pretty good, or me and Photoshop did pretty good of taking everything out. And what I want to talk about is that the car is the same. The car is the same as it was, only edited the colors and stuff like that, and brought it out to what it really looked like. And the brush is brush. I mean, if you look here, the brush is brush, the brush is brush, the brush is brush, the brush is brush. And all I did was get rid of these people. So I'm down with that. I think that's a acceptable level of changing stuff. I don't think I took anything out of this one, but I just like this picture, man. I just really like that picture. That's the one we just did. And this is my favorite picture that I did out of the day, and this is one I want to put on the wall. I really liked everything right here a lot, and I like these kind of, you know, different views of cars and stuff. So I had all this stuff in the background right here, and so I added a teal and orange preset. I took out all this noise right here down to right at the shadow, I think, and I love this picture. This is my favorite picture. So yeah, that's it for the tutorial that wasn't supposed to be, and some of the photos from the car show. So yeah, as you can see, there's a big difference there. There's a lot to work with in Photoshop and Lightroom now. The capabilities are incredible. I really just wanted to share some of the photos I did from the car show because I enjoy that kind of stuff, and it's positive, and you know, we need to keep things a little bit more positive sometimes. But I will definitely say that there is a big
advantage that we have now with what we can do in Photoshop and Lightroom. And unfortunately, I saw a lot of people out at the car show taking phone pictures, and people are thinking that phone pictures are just fine because everything's in focus and everything's in the proper color and this and that, and there's no artisticness in those shots. There's no angles. Me, I shoot only with primes, so I'm up, down. I wear a knee pad on one knee so I can get down low and get those angles and stuff, and I get a workout from all that stuff. That's why I was sweating to death, and that's why I didn't do any video of that, because nobody wants to see me sweating to death. So yeah, tell me what you think about the whole Lightroom Photoshop thing and the AI parts and the removal and this and that. Do you think it's good or bad? You know, it's all part of the future and it's all part of photography, but I really don't like the full-blown AI stuff. I do like some of the AI videos, but I wish people would be clear about that they are AI and stuff, because that's where the big issue is, when things that are AI are pretending they're not AI. So that's all I got on that one. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.